I love horror movies and I don't know why, because out of 10 movies that I watch, I end up liking 2 or maybe 3 if I'm lucky. I really don't know what it is that keeps me coming back. Maybe because it's as if horror isn't as strict as other genres and leaves more room to play, or maybe it is because they're usually easier to watch, them being a simpler form of entertainment, although not always. Sometimes horror can and will try to reach or address more ambitious and complex issues. This can go amazingly well, but it also can go awfully wrong. Sometimes the end product will turn out to be inspiring, but more often than not, they just don't hit the right note. With Ma, I mostly wanted to watch it because of Octavia Spencer. The premise sounded simple enough, but also quite promising, so I excitedly gave it a go. And it didn't go very well. I can't say that I hated it, but I can't say that I like it either. To put in simpler words, I don't think I will be watching it again, because just one time was enough. As I was watching, I kept being distracted by many things and interactions that kept happening, things that I guess were supposed to add to the story instead of taking from it. I will be addressing exactly the parts that I didn't like, and you can tell me whether if you agree with me or not. And at the end, I will tell you the things that I actually enjoyed, because not everything was bad. First, I want to address this typical horror cliché, and it's one that I dislike deeply, because it spreads misinformation and leads people to misunderstand what mental illnesses are actually like. I don't really think that most people will take movies, especially horror movies, as a guide to mental illness, but these themes keep occurring over and over again, and they end up being our closer source of information on the subject. Throughout the movie, we keep getting glimpses of Suan's past. She's portrayed as a shy girl that's too naive for her own good. Not much of her real character is shown, just that she's really eager to make friends, but really doesn't know how. And then we get the reveal of this particular villain's spirit story, and it's all about how this one time some of her classmates tricked her and made fun of her. I'm not exactly sure if that counts as sexual assault, since she was lied to and possibly led to do something she didn't want to do, although it appeared that everything was consensual except obviously the last part, when everyone was waiting outside, ready to make fun of her. You can see this a lot in horror and non-horror movies and TV shows. How this normal but shy child/teenager was constantly bullied and mistreated, and how this in the end, unsurprisingly, turns them into murderous psychopaths. The mental illnesses that bullying can cause are never addressed, they are just used to create our villain. We don't even know what she was suffering from before that particular event. We just know that she's now a monster, because mentally ill equals dangerous and unpredictable. This movie gives us a villain that is supposed to be hated and never understood, because all we see is the aftermath of it all. In this case, a crazy woman that is so set on revenge, she doesn't hesitate to manipulate, hurt, and even kill. She's supposed to be odd and pathetic, and most of all, someone who has taken things out of proportion. Most serial killers do suffer from one, if not of a variety of mental issues, but they are almost always stupidly portrayed in this type of movies. I think I could have done without her whole backstory, for it was definitely not needed, and in the end it simply caused more issues than it solved. Another issue that I have with this movie is that the protagonist kept making stupid decisions. And no, I don't believe that just because they're teenagers, they're supposed to be this stupid. They constantly ignore all the red flags, and even when they see that Ma is quite creepy, they still decide to ignore their instincts. The moment she led them away and made them follow her to her house, I would have bolted. She even pulls out a gun and makes one of the boys strip naked. She played it as a joke, but man, if that was the moment to leave and never come back. The stupid decisions never stop being made, especially at the end, when Matt sends a very creepy video to Maggie and pretty much tells her she has her boyfriend. Maggie still doesn't call the cops and decides to go by herself, because reasons. Even after seeing all the photos that Matt had of all of them, even their parents, which screams danger if you ask me. By the way, it also annoyed me that Matt's daughter knew about the photos but decided to act like it was the most normal thing in the world and never told anyone about it. Her relationship with her mother was never really explained and was only used to remind you that Ma had mental issues. I honestly think that Ma's daughter was only in the movie to help everyone in the end, like this human deus ex machina. Another thing that didn't make sense is that Ma never did anything about getting her revenge until Maggie and her mother moved back in town. Was Ma waiting for this to happen the whole time? What if they never returned? And it sounds so funny that all her ex-classmates had children pretty much at the same time, and that they also ended up being in the same friend group, so very convenient for her. Lastly, I wanted to mention how odd it seemed to me that no one noticed she had killed 2 people. First Mercedes, the woman she ran over with her car, and second Dr. Brooks. Both of them spent almost a whole day dead, I believe, and just no one cared. I'm not going to mention Ben because she killed him late in the night. I still have more issues with the movie, but I think you get my point. Now, as I promised, I'm going to mention some of the things that I did like about the movie. First of all, I liked the way it started as a very normal non-horror movie from the soundtrack to the editing. It isn't conventional and I actually enjoyed it. I also think Octavia Spencer did a very good job with what she had. She was just the perfect amount of creepy. We could see only a very few locations, but it still felt like they were in an actual town and it helped the movie feel a little bit more realistic. That's it for my very long review of Ma. I hope you liked it and thanks for watching.